the opportunity to clean your filter for your sprinkler system. Most sprinkler systems, especially with irrigation water, are going to have a filter. The filter filters out anything that might make it through the pump stations that pressurize the water and keep that from ending up in your sprinkler heads or sprinkler system. A little bit of grit and a little bit of seed does actually still get through eventually, and you do need to clean each individual head. And you can check out one of our other videos on the diffusers that are inside each of the pop-up sprinkler heads. But this is pretty typical of a irrigation tie-in. We've got the housing for the corp stop, which is approximately about 3.5 to 4 feet down. It's a shutoff that the irrigation districts typically own to isolate a property or turn water off to a specific property in the event of non-payment of the bill or some other issue that they need to control. But most typically in our boxes, you'll either see a brass fitting similar to this one. I don't know if that's easy or hard to see, or a red handle. Most typically when the red handle is in line with the pipe, it's on. With its perpendicular or crossways to the pipe, it is off. But you do need to turn the water off to be able to remove the housing for the filter. The filter has a clear cover most typically. They don't all come in this configuration, but this is the most common one that we use. You can actually see the metal filter inside. But even though you can see the filter and it appears to be clean, if you're having pressure issues with your sprinkler heads, it's possible that the filter housing for the filter. The filter has a clear cover most typically. They don't all come in this configuration, but this is the most common one that we use. You can actually see the metal filter inside. But even though you can see the filter and it appears to be clean, if you're having pressure issues with your sprinkler heads, it's possible that the filter is dirty and you need to remove it and take a wire brush to it and clean it. So there's a hose bib that's also connected to the system. You do need to turn the water off that feeds the sprinkler system like we talked about, and then you want to open the hose bib to relieve water pressure. The water pressure will make the collar extremely difficult to get off. And in fact, once you open the hose bib and let some water run out, you may still even need a pair of channel locks to be able to manipulate this collar. But once you've got the collar just slightly loosened, you can just roll the collar with your hands. It's easier with two hands. And it'll just spin off. You can pop the filter out into the cup. Then you see the filter and the cup are two separate pieces. Be important to look inside the filter to see if there's any sand grains or grit inside there, and wash this really well. And then ultimately you want to slip it with the covered end back down into the cup once it's clean, and it will naturally seat itself as you tighten the collar in most cases. Now the collar in particular, when you put it back together, you only want to hand tighten the collar. And reason being is if you tighten the collar with the channel locks and then you turn the high pressure water on, the collar gets locked on there so tightly that you'll never get it off again. So I usually urge people just to hand tighten the collar. Make sure your hose bib is closed, because it'll shoot you in the face when you turn the water on. I've had that happen to myself. But then you want to go ahead and use your channel locks to manipulate the water back to the on position, or if it's the red handle, turn it back to the on position and inspect this just a little bit. Wait a second, feel the bottom of it, make sure that water's not leaking out of there. It's possible even with a small leak, you'll come out tomorrow and find that this whole area is saturated. So that's how you check or